everyone. So this presentation is all about making the most from your Facebook business page. So if you've set your business page up already and you're ready to start reaching new customers, then this is the time to do this. If you're not set up yet, go get set up and then give this a listen. Okay, so let's just dive straight in. First of all, probably going to disappoint you potentially and say that there is no such thing as magic. There is no such thing as a magic post, I'm afraid. So you might be asking, what do I do instead? So that's what I'm going to talk to you about for this presentation. And the things that I'm going to cover are building relationships, which is just the most important key thing. Using your business page to meet people rather than to sell. How to just sort of message everyone. What are the best kind of engagement posts to be using and why you should be using them. And also just about not selling Younique, but selling yourself instead and setting yourself up as a brand, which I know sounds a bit strange, but we'll cover all of that. Okay, so I kind of did lie a bit. There is some magic, and our magic posts are definitely the really attention-grabbing stuff. So the mascara is obviously really attention-grabbing, just the difference that it makes. The lip stains and the lip and eye pencils, just with how well they stay on. And of course the foundation for when that's in stock. But big caveat in this, that simply posting these magic posts is not going to magically get you sales. There might be the odd person that buys some stuff. And as you might know already, it usually takes on average about like 6 to 8 times for someone to see something before they buy. Obviously some people will be less and some people will be more, but it's pretty rare for someone to see sort of a post of the mascara, for example, and then just click on your, the link to your site and then just buy. So the way to get these sales from these magic posts is all about building the relationship with your new customer. And a really good way to start this off is to ask for comments on your post. So say, comment below if you're interested or, something like that that's related to your post. And also, on the talking of magic, you can be the magic yourself there's a couple of things that, make you the magic. And first of all, and a really, really, really important thing to be always doing on your business page is to be positive. Being positive and just super nice, like the nicest, most happy version of myself on my page. Even when I'm having a rubbish day or something's gone wrong, I still make sure that all my posts, all my messages, all my comments, even when I get negative feedback on my posts, still make sure that you're super nice and super, super positive, especially with the posts, just because if you post something that could be seen as negative or, say someone's scrolling through their feed and they've had a bad day, they're in a bad mood and they see something that is potentially a little bit negative, they will take it. And that they'll run with it. It'll be so much more negative to them than you meant it to be. And then you've just kind of got this negative vibe attached to your page and your business. And that's not what you want. You want people to be feeling happiness and excitement and to be super excited about buying their new makeup. And so that needs to come across in every single one of your posts. Your brand needs to be this happy, exciting, positive brand. And just a note on sort of negative feedback, I've had people say really horrible things about some of my posts and my face, and that is just something that happens when you put things out there, and it sucks. I know it does, and I've developed a really thick skin because of it, but I know that some people struggle with it a lot more than I do, and I used to really, really struggle with it. It used to kind of grate on me for days, but just don't reply to them, or if you do say something, really, really nice. Sometimes I just say you can try it out for yourself with our Love It guarantee. We really believe in our products. We really think that you're going to love it. And so you've got a full 14 days to return the product if you don't like it. That quite often shuts them up. But if they're just being out and out mean, then just block them from your page. Don't reply, don't start anything, because it'll only go further and it will only make things worse. But okay, getting back to it. With you being the magic as well, just be yourself. I noticed that quite a lot of business pages that I see about, because I follow and like quite a lot of business pages just so I can see what other people are doing and get ideas and stuff like that. On that note, really good idea to do that and follow loads of the Black Status presenters and stuff, see how they're running their businesses and see what you can take from that, without copying, of course. But yeah, it's really, so what I see on all these pages is that people in their groups, because they know a lot of the people in their groups, kind of speak more fluidly and more easily and with more passion, because they just feel like they're almost just chatting to their friends because they know lots of the people in their group. So they won't, they'll just be there being like, oh, I love this is awesome, having more fun, or just speaking however they would actually speak. And instead, people get onto their pages and it becomes this big, scary, wide world where you don't know anyone there. And, they could be in any country and all of that sort of thing. Excuse me, needed some water. So yeah, they could be in any country, and people all of a sudden, I think, get a bit, not scared, but they just kind of behave differently without even realising. And all of a sudden the posts come across really sort of salesy and not sort of organic and you and how you would speak and how a person would actually feel about something. This is kind of going on to my next point that's on the PowerPoint, not being salesy, and that people just kind of, they forget about them and that we're all about sharing our love for the products and our love for the company. And it kind of automatically becomes like oh, look at this kind of thing, rather than, oh, I love this product, this is great. I always say to pretend that as if you're speaking to your best friend. So put that thought in your head as soon as you go to write a post, and it'll just make a massive difference, because you'll seem so much more genuine, and everyone is just, they're going to like you and they're going to want to speak to you and they're going to want to buy the products and they're going to believe what you say. So just to go on to the copying bit, I totally get that copying sort of text and images from other presenters is a total time saver. I've definitely done it. It's better to do that than to not do anything at all. And I always say to my team, feel free to steal any of my images and use them in your groups. I personally have got the whole range of unique products, and there's a lot of presenters that don't have that yet. So you can't post all your own images and that sort of thing. But if you're posting another presenters, try and post a presenter that you know, and then you can tag them in the post as well. That doesn't mean that your customers are all of a sudden going to go to them instead. It just means that you're showing that it's a real person, that you actually know them, and you've seen the results for yourself. For example, take copying. Say if a load of presenters all did the same thing, which we quite often end up doing, and we all boost that post, and we quite often all boost out to the same thing. So a sponsored post going out to people that, women that love makeup that are a certain age. And so this person is going to see this same post over and over again from different people, and it's going to end up seeming as if Younique have given us a script or something like that. So it's really not going to come across as genuine. And it's just so much better to keep it, in your personality and your language and way of speaking, and it stays consistent. So it's all part of developing you as a brand and being consistent, and then it's even better when you start to build those relationships and you talk to those people. Because, for example, if you copy someone's post that's full of exclamation marks and emojis, and someone reacts to that and they're like, oh yeah, fun, and you start speaking to them and you don't use any of that sort of language and you're not like that and you're not full of emojis, then it's just going to come across as a totally different person. It just will seem really inconsistent. And just a side note on copying things as well, if you do copy images, make sure that you put your own, the URL to your site or your brand name or anything, or even just a smiley face, anything whatsoever, put it on the image, because if the same image gets shared loads on Facebook, then Facebook automatically marks it as spam. And obviously we don't want that to happen to anyone, because it means that no one will be able to post the image. Okay, so next up, moving on to getting exposure. And so this is just about, getting, reaching a wider audience with your page. So the first thing I recommend doing is boosting your page for likes. Just do it for £1 a day, boost the right audience, which we'll talk about later, and just get your likes up. I did find, so when I started boosting mine when I had under 1,000 likes, it went really slowly. I was kind of like, well, what's the point in ever doing this? And yeah, I don't know, I found it quite annoying. And then I heard other people say, oh no, definitely do it. So I stuck with it. And as always, this business has proved that persistence is key, because as soon as I hit 1,000, the likes were rolling in. So it's definitely worth doing, because I kind of feel like if someone sees your page, just randomly about Facebook in page suggestions or anything like that, or they think they want to like your page or get in touch with you, and you've got three likes or something, or 30 likes, people aren't going to think that it's as valid a business. They'll either think that you're brand new, potentially don't know as much as they would like you to know, or they're just going to think that you're a really unpopular business. So it's definitely important to have your page likes up. Even if you're not engaging with all those people that like your page, it's still important to get those numbers up, because as they go up, they'll go up even quicker. Like I've just hit 3,150, and as soon as I hit that 50, for some reason my page likes are just going up and up and up, way more than they were before. So it's kind of as if that 3,000 really, really helped. So the next way to get exposure is to boost your posts. If you're not doing this already, then definitely start doing it, because otherwise the amount of people that will see your post is just going to be very little, and it'll probably be the same people over and over again. And you really want to be getting out to a wider network of people. And if you boost your posts out, it also helps you get more likes on your page as well. Another way to get likes on your page is if you invite everyone that likes your posts. So say if you've boosted a post and you've got like 1,000 likes on it, for example, or 100 or 50 or even 6, get on a laptop or a desktop, because you can't do it on your phone, and you can hit there's like a button that shows you all the people that have liked that post. So you hit that, and you can invite that entire list of people to invite your to like your page. So yeah, it's a really, really easy and free way to invite more people. Also, start using hashtags. This means that if someone is searching for a hashtag that you've used on Facebook, if they're using the search bar to search for something similar, or using the same key terms, then they're going to come across your post. So I use things like unique, makeup, beauty. I always use made up as well, which is part of my brand name. And you can also look at using like trending names as well. For example, I've just done, it was St. Patrick's Day yesterday, and I did a green makeup post about St. Patrick's Day, and I hashtagged it with St. Patrick's Day. So anyone that's looking at St. Patrick's Day stuff will also see my post. And lastly, it's about differentiating yourself. And this is another key part in becoming your own brand and building your brand. So you want to create an original brand that's really you and about you and resonates with you and shows your personality and how you do business and what you love about this business. And make sure you call your page this name, or even call your page your own name. Take Kelsey Stacey, for example, who uses her name as her own name as the name of her page, and quite a lot of Black Status presenters do this as well. And if you're looking at becoming a network marketing professional, this is what you need to do, so that you are your brand. If you call your page, so for example, I would have called it Unique Beauty with Maddy, and that's what it was called at first. And then I'm not any different to anyone else that's starting up selling unique. And so you're going to be there on Facebook and you're just going to be washed away with everyone else that's called Younique Makeup with or Younique Beauty with or whatever it is. So make sure that you get your own mark and your own brand name on there so that you can be different and original. And then just all of a sudden you'll just see customers coming to you because you're just a much more trusted brand rather than just being, another Younique seller. Okay, so next up I'm going to talk about expanding your customer base. First of all is just about messaging everyone. I know that can seem a bit daunting, especially when, you've got loads of likes coming in for when you're boosting your page and stuff like that. But it's a numbers game really, and it's a great way to start off building relationships. So I message everyone that likes my page. I also message everyone that likes my posts, and I definitely make sure that I message everyone that comments. There's a big difference between messaging people that like and messaging people that comment. Facebook now allows you to message people that comment on your post directly from the comment. So you'll see when someone comments on your post, there's the option to like or reply or message them. And if you message them, it goes straight into their inbox, they see it straight away, and it's also got a little reference to the post that they commented on as well. So I'll like their comment, I'll reply to them saying, I'm just messaging you now, and then I'll hit message and I'll message them. And they see it straight away, and that's all fine. But the people that like your page or like your posts, if you message them, you can't message them as your page, and you only message them as yourself as an individual. So you have to make sure that you reference your page in your message. So I always say something like, oh, hey, thanks for liking my post on my Made Up by Madeleine Younique Beauty page. Have you tried Younique products before? And this message will sit in their message requests, and you can count on it. The person that accepts your message request straight away will be another Younique presenter, because that's what we do. We check our message requests, but the average person doesn't check their message requests. So yeah, that can be frustrating, and it's a definite numbers game, but for the few people that will accept the request, it's worth doing, because you can start then building up a relationship with someone brand new. Okay, so the next thing is adding people as friends, and just sort of being, a bit less precious about it if you are. I know I certainly was. And one day I just decided that I wasn't going to be precious about my personal Facebook anymore, and I was just going to start adding people as friends. And that's when your attraction marketing really comes into play, because people start to see how fantastic a time you're having with the company, and it makes them want to buy products, and it makes them want to join. So I don't just add random people as friends. So say if I'm messaging someone about joining, I'm having a chat with them, then I'll say, I've just sent you a friend request, so that we can stay in touch a bit easier. I hope that's okay. And they always come back and say, yep, that's absolutely fine. And they accept my request. I have tried a couple of times of people that have liked recruitment posts, and I've messaged them, and obviously they don't see the message, so I've tried friend requesting them and then messaging them. That's worked for one person so far, but other people haven't accepted my request just because obviously I'm a random person that they don't know. So I think, I don't know, maybe if I had the same profile picture on both pages, then that would work well. That's a good idea, actually. I'm going to do that. And I'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is just sort of be less precious with things and be okay with adding people as friends, because it really helps keep you in their mind when they think about their next cosmetics purchase, or if they're thinking about joining. If you're sort of always there in their feed doing something really cool. And the final way to expand, or the final suggestion I've got for expanding your customer base, is using engagement posts that people will want to share. So examples of these can be like motivational posts or funny posts. I found so far with my page that they're best if they're makeup and beauty related. If I've done something that's funny but nothing to do with makeup, quite often people then actually unlike my page because they've chosen to like my page for makeup posts. They haven't gone there for anything else. So if they see something else coming up, they're going to be like, what, like, what is this? I don't want this in my newsfeed. So yeah, that's just what I found on my page personally. Give it a go and see what happens for you, check your insights. But yeah, these funny posts are really great for people commenting and for people liking stuff, and people quite often share the posts. And one thing they really do as well is tag people in the comments as well, so then those people see your page, which is really, really great. And I've also put a note about sort of finding the viral post before the rest of the internet does. And you have to be a bit sort of savvy and up to date to be doing this, and kind of keeping an eye on things like Reddit and BuzzFeed and stuff like that. But for example, I don't know if you would have seen it, but there's the Channing Tatum meme where the guy had contoured his face and then it showed him after contour and it was a picture of Channing Tatum. And the internet loved that picture, and somehow it was kind of as if Younique Presenters got a hold of that before anyone else did, and we just blew it up massively and people loved it. So if you ever find that funny post that you haven't seen about Facebook before, then just post it, because that's going to be the stuff that gets loads of likes and loads of shares. Okay, next, so going on to the really, really important bit about building relationships. First thing about this is being genuinely interested in the person that you're talking to, as in actually really genuinely interested in them. So asking them questions, finding out about them. If they're thinking about joining the business, find out why, find out what their reasons are, find out their goals, their aspirations, what the reasons for them joining, what are the bits that they like the sound of, what are they excited about, have they got kids, have they, all that sort of stuff. What's their home like, not what their home is like, but where do they live, and being just genuinely interested in that person. As people just, people like to be asked questions and to just talk to people. Quite often that you're talked at, or that person is going to be talked at, especially when they're talking to someone that's in direct sales, and they're just going to be like, blah, 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 this is my business, blah, 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 this is my product. Whereas instead you're just developing this relationship with this person, and just see it as just making loads of new friends, and just finding out all about them as you would want to do if you were actually making friends. So see it as that rather than selling to them. The selling bit comes later, that comes after. And the next 2 points are quite similar about being yourself, and as I said before, pretend that you're speaking to your best friend. So really just be yourself, don't be kind of like this sales robot. Just make sure that, you talk how you talk, and then this is where you having your own authentic posts are really going to help, because if people are drawn in by your posts to then comment on them, and you start messaging them and you've got that same tone of language and they were drawn in by that tone of language, then you're going to get on with that person really well, and they're going to then want to join your team and want to buy your product consistently from you, because you've resonated with that person. So yeah, that's really important. And as I said previously, just don't be afraid to friend request people. Even people that you just, you've colour matched or something, for example. Say, I just sent you a friend request, hope that's okay. It just means I can add you to my VIP customers group, as I'd love you to be a part of it, and stuff like that. Also make sure when you're building your relationships that every message ends with a question. Just to keep that conversation always flowing. The amount of times, I started off doing this as well, and I hear about lots of my team doing this, that they kind of just go like, let me know when you're ready, or let me know when you want to buy, or let me know. And then they go like, okay, and they pop off and they totally forget about it, because they're not in this business every day and they're not thinking about it every day, like you probably are, or every minute or every second like I am, which you probably are too. So yeah, make sure that you're always ending with a question and just keep it going. And a really top tip I heard the other day about for when the conversation dries up or gets that awkward point, because it quite often does. You've asked as many questions as you can, and it's sort of, they're becoming less interested because maybe you've been speaking for a while and they're doing something else, they're cooking dinner or whatever it is that they're doing. A really great thing to ask is how sure they are on a scale of 1 to 10. So whether that's buying something or, more importantly, joining the business, how sure are they of joining on a scale of 1 to 10 is really, really great, because then you can find out how sure they really are about doing it. So whether they're a 10, like that's fantastic, or if they're a 5, then you've got way more conversation to go to find out why they're a 5 and what it is that you can do to help that 5. Or if, it might be that there's nothing that you can do, maybe if they just don't have any money right now, and then that's when you try and find out, when they might have the money, and you sort of say how worthwhile it is saving up for and all that sort of thing. But yeah, it's just a really, really great tip to use that 1 to 10 scale. And it's a really good conversation starter, finding out more about them, and what their motivations are and all that sort of thing. And lastly is about follow-up. Follow-up is so key. Even if you've not spoken to this person in months, follow up with them. It's just the best thing ever. So in January, I had loads of new people join my team. Can't quite remember the number, but my recruitment drive went crazy, and that's most of them came from follow-ups. So people that I hadn't even spoken to in over a month, and they'd never even replied to me, but I followed up with them and said oh, hey, do you think this is something that you might be interested in? And then they were like, oh, yeah, I would be interested in this. So they see the message and they go oh yeah, that thing, I'd totally forgotten about that, or I'd seen the message and didn't have time to read it, but yeah, no, I am actually interested. So yeah, follow-up is definitely key. Just always keep in mind that this person isn't in the business and this person isn't thinking about it all the time. They've got their own lives going on, and so yeah, you need to keep in their minds, and follow-up is a great way of doing that. Okay, so next up I wanted to just talk quickly about our liquid gold. It might not be, hopefully it's not out of stock when you're listening to this, but it is out of stock at the moment. And if you haven't watched Sherry Brown's video, then find that video and watch it, because it's the best bit of advice ever. But for when it's back in, you can use colour matching to build relationships. And this is how I got all my success in my business page when we had the stock in. Just the biggest tip I've got with this is don't send people these stock images or stock questionnaires, like the one that's got all the different questions in to find out your undertone and then you can match it to your colour. Don't send someone that, or don't send them the images that show them what different types of coverage we've got. Do not send them these things. Find it out for yourself. Spend the time to message them about it, because that's how you'll develop a relationship with them. That's how you'll find out what their actual needs are, so you're going to have a happy customer in the end. And then you've also got this person that's, they're engaging with you, and they feel the opportunity to ask their own questions back as well. And you can potentially add them as a friend and add them into your VIP group or whatever. Or, maybe they'll even see how great and fun this conversation's been and how much you've enjoyed it, and they've enjoyed it, and they'll think about joining, which is obviously, the best outcome. But most importantly, you're going to end up with happy customers, because they're going to get the right foundation for them. So first of all, it's always important to find out about what type of coverage they want. People see our liquid foundation and the videos are mental and amazing and they just want it, but they're maybe not considering that it's full coverage foundation. And although it's not heavy at all, we all know that, but it's not a light coverage, it is full coverage. And I get quite a few people that I speak to that it turns out they've only ever used BB cream before. So then I say to them, oh, get the BB cream instead. The BB cream's fantastic. You're going to love it. So I don't, if I just sent them that questionnaire, chances are they probably wouldn't have even read it. And second of all, that if they had have read it and they've picked their own colour, then they're going to go and buy this foundation, they're going to get it and be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it does do what the video said, but it's not really what I use now. It's not what I'm used to. And so that's the other thing about sending people this questionnaire. I mean, when I looked at that questionnaire for the first time, I was pretty confused about what undertone I would be, and I didn't really know how to answer a lot of the questions. And that's coming from someone who's a presenter and who's really invested in getting this right. Whereas these people is just some random person that's messaged you that probably has got a load of other foundation that they wear, and they just might be, thinking that they want this. And so you need to, if you just send someone this image, they're just going to look at it, either get really confused or think that they don't have the time to do that right now, and then they'll end up forgetting it. Or maybe they figured their colour out, but still they're not entirely sure, so they think, well, I don't want to order it just in case. It doesn't even give them an opportunity to find out about the Love It guarantee, for example. So it's just not a good idea to send just the questionnaires as a picture to people, because they'll just see it and go, oh, I'll do that later, and then they don't do it. Once I found out what kind of coverage they want, I'll just say okay, cool, let's just quickly find out your undertones. So first of all, do you burn, tan, or a bit of both in the sun without sunscreen? And then they come back to me and then they answer that. And I say okay, great. And looking at your wrists, are your veins A, green, B, bright blue or bright purple, or C, blue/green? And they come back with the answer and I'm okay, great. So this is your undertone. And then I always ask them which foundation brand and colour they wear now, and if they're happy with the colour. And that's a really good way to find out if they're happy with their foundation or not, and what they don't like about it. Because if they're not unhappy, quite often they tell you what they think is wrong with it. So it's really great for finding the right colour and, again, the right coverage for them. I quite often don't, if someone sends me a picture, then I'll happily match them to that, but I still always find out their undertone because that's the most important thing. But I don't often ask for pictures because quite often this is a stalling thing. People don't really like to send pictures. They know they've got to do it in natural light. So it'll be pretty common for someone to be sat about of an evening and they'll be messaging you then, instead of at a time when there's natural light outside and they can go and get a nice bright picture for you and also happen to be not wearing any makeup. So it's kind of best to match to their current foundation, I personally think, because that's what they're happy with. Or if they say they're happy with it, then that's what they're happy with, and that's the colour that they will want to achieve from our foundation as well. And last of all, just have fun with it. One of the colour matches I did in January, this woman is now one of my favourite best customers. She buys from me twice a month. She always comes to me with questions because she knows that she's got confidence in me to answer her questions correctly. And when we did the colour match, it was just hilarious. We had loads of fun together, and I ended up colour matching her entire family. And she said that if she really likes her stuff, that she'll become a presenter someday soon. So yeah, it's definitely great to put your personality in it. As I said, just don't be this robot spitting out questions to people. Put a bit of personality into it, and then they'll have fun and they'll see what fun this job is. And it's just a great bit of attraction marketing. Okay, so next up and lastly, just going to be talking about boosting. What should you boost, and how should you boost as well? So as I said about sort of not selling unique and the magic posts and stuff like that, so those magic posts are really, really good for boosting, just because they really get the wow factor. And about joining the company is also a great thing to boost as well, for getting really out there for people that you wouldn't come across otherwise in your own network. I don't really boost my engagement posts just because I like those to get out there organically, rather than paying for it, and that's the whole, part of the point of using those engagement posts. Okay, so talking about how to boost, I would definitely get experimental with this. Don't limit it to people that just like makeup. For example, before I joined Younique, I hadn't liked anything to do with makeup that was on Facebook. But that does not mean that I didn't like makeup, and it doesn't mean that I didn't wear makeup every day. It's just that I hadn't happened to have liked anything to do with makeup on Facebook. So, for example, when our liquid foundation was in, at one stage in the month that went really, really well for me, I boosted that out to just females, just to give it a go. I just wanted to see what happened. And all of a sudden, I got loads more interaction on it, because there was a bunch of people that hadn't been targeted at by me or by loads of other presenters before that were seeing this for the first time. So yeah, it's really, really important to get experimental with it and to not just target those oversaturated markets. I also suggest using a target market that suits you, because that way building relationships is going to be so much easier. So this is in the same way as using your language in your own posts rather than copying someone else's languages. Because if you get a target market that suits you and you speak to those customers, then you're just going to resonate with each other and get on so much better. And the relationship is going to build much quicker and much easier. So, for example, I've recently added in BuzzFeed style into the things that I boost to. That's because I love BuzzFeed and I read it all the time. And so I'm thinking somebody else that reads it, I'm going to get on with them really, really well. So yeah, think about things that you're interested in and try boosting to those things. And also check your insights on Facebook. There's a tab that lets you check reporting on all of these sorts of things. Definitely take this stuff with a pinch of salt. For example, I was looking at mine the other day and it said that I should be posting at about, or most people are on my page at about 9 p.m. in the evening. And that's because the majority of my likes are from Mexico. However, as much as the Mexico market really, really loves our product and they're very, very engaged, they like things a lot, they comment on things a lot, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's where the sales are going to come from. So as much as I get a lot of engagement from Mexico, I don't really get many sales. So despite Facebook is telling me that I should be posting just before 9 p.m. at night so these people see my posts, but that doesn't mean the people that are going to be buying is going to see those posts. So always take things with a pinch of salt and have a think about why it's saying that these times are the best or that these words are the best, for example. Also make sure that you're specific with your targeting. Don't do it just general out to everyone, because you're just going to waste your money on a load of people that don't need to see it. I recommend sticking with females only. As much as I really want to tap into the male market for makeup, that's something I'm trying to get through my Instagram instead. Keeping it to females on Facebook is just much better, because doing it to males, you're just going to end up losing a load of impressions. I also stick to ages 22 to 55. And then I also do the interest stuff, as I was talking about before. I go with 22 to 55 just because I find, although I get a lot of engagement for people that are, say, around 18 and 19, they're not the people that are buying our products just because they don't have that disposable income. And I stick it to no one above 55 just because I'm younger, and so the people that I'm talking to, as I said, are going to resonate with me better. Whereas, say, if you're older, then you could definitely push it to an older market, especially because if you're posting your own pictures and you're older, someone that is older is going to see that and go, oh, that looks good. Whereas if they see me and being younger, they're just going to be like, well, that looks good on them, but doesn't mean it's going to look good on me. So obviously skin gets very different as you get older, for example. Also, give it time with your boosted posts. It takes usually at least like 2 to 3 days for things to start kicking off. So probably the first 3 days you boost a post, you won't get anything. You're not going to get any likes or any comments. It's going to be really frustrating because you just spent your money. But keep going with it. And after that, all of a sudden, you'll just start seeing things flood in. So yeah, that's really, really important. And also to be persistent. As with always in this business, just keep on boosting, even when you're not getting sales and you're not getting interaction. For example, in February, I actually got no sales through my business page. But that's because it's February, and February is dull and depressing, and no one's got any money, and no one wants to buy anything, and no one wants to have any fun. But I still kept on boosting, so people were still seeing those posts that, 6 times or whatever. So people were still seeing that stuff. And then March came along, and all of a sudden, in the first few days of March, I got loads of sales. And it's because people have just been seeing it and getting exposed to it. And they see it in March, and they've got more money, and they're thinking about springtime, they're all happy, and all of a sudden they're buying. So it's definitely worth keep on going with it, because if I hadn't have kept on going with it, I wouldn't have been in their minds that entire time. They wouldn't have been thinking about, oh, when I've got a bit of money, I'll try that. So if they're seeing it for the first time, then they're not gonna, it's very unlikely that they'll be going for it. And just think, you're still getting exposure with your page there. People are still going to like things, even if they're not buying. Okay, so that is all I've got to say. If you've got any questions whatsoever about anything that I've said, or anything that's specific to your page or your customers or what you're doing, please feel free to drop me a message or comment or whatever. Just message me through Facebook. I'm more than happy to answer any questions or help you out. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. Thanks for your time, and I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.